Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Brian, and today I'm going to show you exactly why a little teeny tiny part of a four-wheel drive system might be costing you miles per gallon. So this particular part only affects a four-wheel drive vehicle that has vacuum actuated hubs. Now this 2005 Ford F-150 that I'm using for example does have those vacuum actuated hubs, and there's nothing to tell you that this part has failed. It could have been failed since I bought the truck and just never checked it, which could have cost me thousands, literally thousands of dollars over the 7 or 8 years I've owned this truck so far. So what the part is a vacuum hub actuator solenoid. So this cuts vacuum to the hubs and forces them to engage. Vacuum actually keeps the hubs disengaged, which I'm going to show you in this test. So if you have a four-wheel drive truck, it's worth it to just go try this test out. Grab a jack, put the truck in park, and see if you can rotate the wheel with the engine on and in two-wheel drive. With all out of the way, let's jump in. So all four-wheel drive trucks have some form of locking system that physically locks the hub to the CV axle. On this particular truck, it is vacuum operated because it's a little bit older. It's 2005. The newer trucks have electrically operated lockers, and then very old trucks have manual. But right here in the middle ground is vacuum. So there's a little vacuum line right here, and this vacuum is what actually disengages the hub. So watch, in its default state, the CV axle and hub turn together. So what disengages the hub is vacuum from the engine, but that has to be controlled somehow, so that way when you're in two-wheel drive, the hub spins freely and you gain more efficiency and there's less wear and tear on the front end, which isn't as robust as the rear end. But it's more of an efficiency thing. You will see your gas mileage go down by quite a bit if this solenoid is bad. And how do you test for that? Well, the only thing you can do really is put it in the air and turn the engine on with it in park and see if you can turn this and the CV axle turns with it. That's the best way to do it. So now the truck is on and in two-wheel drive, but watch. The hub is turning the CV axle without me wanting it to. So that's causing all kinds of drag and decreasing our efficiency overall. So let's fix that. So as soon as you open your hood on the top left of your engine compartment, behind the battery just right here and to the left of the ECM is this thing. And this is the vacuum hub actuator. And there's no codes, there's no anything that tells you that this isn't functioning besides the physical test we just did. And it's really easy, just unplug it. Obviously the truck's off. No, you don't need to disconnect the battery. And then just pull the vacuum lines off. You can hear the vacuum hiss out of it because it's doing a fine job of holding its vacuum, because this isn't letting vacuum go to the hubs. It's not pulling the hub closed with vacuum. So we need to replace this. And there's just like a wiring harness little clip right there. Looks like two 10mm nuts. And we can go ahead and remove that solenoid. Super easy. So here is our old unit. Now, if you don't want to remove the bolts, I noticed that you can just unclip it and kind of shimmy it out, but the new one comes with its own bracket, so I thought take the whole thing off. Here's the new part and its part number, and there's a link located down below in the description for your convenience. Oh, that's interesting. They actually changed the housing. So if you wanted, you could just put this new valve on the old body, because the old body's metal and the new one's plastic, but I'm willing to bet they changed that for a reason. And this will offer a little more protection from the elements, so that's probably why they went to that. So let's put it in. So now we can take our new housing, and I kind of like the housing because it kind of gives the valve a little bit of a house to live in, so kind of saves it from the elements. Yeah, I think that's gonna work great. I'm just gonna snug it up. I don't really have a torque spec for you. Just be mindful you're tightening plastic, so not crazy tight, just wrist tight's fine. So then we can plug our vacuum lines back in, and look, you can't plug it in upside down, so it only goes on one way. Because if you somehow manage to plug that in upside down, well, it'll never work. So they made it pretty easy to figure that out. And then just grab your electrical connector and plug that in. There we go. All right, now we can turn the truck on and see if it works. Okay, so we're back at the hub and engine is off, so it's locked in. That didn't change. Let's turn the engine on. Okay, and check that out. It doesn't turn anymore, so we knew that solenoid was the problem. Now, just to double check, let's put it in 4-wheel drive and see if the hub actuates. Now that should have cut the vacuum supply off, so the hub engages. Check that out. Now the hub is actually engaged. Might feel a little bit of slop in there just from drivetrain and front drive shaft, but look, it works perfectly. Now put it back in 2-wheel. And it spins freely. That's gonna put our efficiency right back where it needs to be. So that's how to replace a vacuum actuator hub solenoid. It is really easy and pretty inexpensive. The link's located down below in the description. Like I said earlier, this is something you can totally do in your driveway, in a parking lot, anywhere you need to do this, you can totally do this. It's super, super easy and an excellent way to get your miles per gallon back. How many miles per gallon? I'll just go ahead and tell you since it's my personal vehicle. At best, on the highway with the air conditioning off, the best miles per gallon I could get was about 17.8, which is like fine, but not great. With the solenoid functioning properly and the hub's disengaged, so you're creating way less drag on the engine, so it doesn't work as hard, it's more fuel efficient, I was getting darn near 21. It was 20.9 miles per gallon. So that's an increase of about 3 miles per gallon, which is pretty significant. 3 miles per gallon over hundreds of thousands of miles could equate to thousands of dollars in savings. That's why it's really important to try out your vacuum actuator solenoid, making sure it works, especially if you're going on a long road trip. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful at all, please consider becoming a member down below. It really helps the channel out. If you can't do that, I understand. Subscribing, liking also really helps my channel out. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.